thought of the people exactly as not yet believers. You know, and even if they don't believe, they are still honorable people. All people, Hindus, atheists, Buddhists, agnostics, Christians, Jews, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. They are all honorable human beings. Why? Because Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. We ourselves, Allah says, we honored the son of Adam. Who are you and I to insult a human being when Allah honored them? Just because they're not Muslims. This is not the way of the Muslims. Now, we as Muslims, you know, when we talk about peace, the first thoughts that come in your head, are about war. How can we end the wars in the world? How can we end the conflicts and the civil disobediences and all the kinds of internal wars, civil wars that are happening in the world, and all of the propaganda and the political differences between nations and things like that. But I argue that the Islamic perspective and the Quranic perspective on these things is very straightforward and very simple. That if human beings at the individual level can truly experience and give off peace, then it has a ripple effect to society, and through it to a city, and through it to a country, and through it internationally. But it begins at the level of the individual. So I want to dedicate this conversation with you in the few minutes that I have left. And by the way, today I'm not even keeping track of time, because quite frankly, I don't care anymore. So, I'm not keeping track of time because I think this is absolutely critical. And my primary, I know, mashallah, there are non-Muslims in our audience, and I'm glad that you're here, and I'm honored at your presence. But at the same time, today, this is going to be me giving the Muslims a talking, myself and you. We need a reminder about our role as Muslims and, ambassadors of peace. What are we supposed to be doing? How are we supposed to be carrying ourselves? Allah Azza wa Jalla says, فَأَيُّ الْفَرِيقَيْنِ أَحَقُّ بِالْأَمْنِ. Which of the two groups is more deserving of peace? Which of the two groups, the people of shirk or the people of tawheed? Which of the two groups are more deserving of al-amn? Now, al-amn is one of the words in Arabic for peace. And the other word you've been hearing all along this conference is as-salam, which are two very close terms in the Arabic language, but they are distinct from one another. And it's important that we dig deep into the Arabic language to understand the nuances and the beauties of these words. Because when I say salam, and I translate it into peace, I am actually only taking one shade of the meaning of this word. The Arabic language was chosen, the Muslims believe, we believe, the Arabic language was chosen because it is rich, it is deep, it is profound. And every word that Allah chooses tells a story. It embeds in it an entire, a chain of lessons that all have to be appreciated so we can taste the wisdom of Allah's words. He chose this perfect language, subhanAllah, for His message. Now, even though we've been translating the word as-salam as peace, and in many, even lexicons of the Arabic language, al-qawamis التي هي من العربية إلى العربية, the Arabic to Arabic lexicons of the Arabic language, al-amn was-salam بمعنى, يعني بمعنى واحد. The amn and salam are interchangeable, they are in one meaning. But I want to highlight to you a few things about this word salam. Why is Islam a message of peace? Let's start with that. Why is it a message of peace? What's the point of having peace? The ultimate point of having peace is that when we come before Allah on the day of judgment, the only people that will be worth anything to Allah on the day of judgment, يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ مَا هُوَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. No money will benefit, no children will benefit on that day. The only one that comes before Allah with something worth anything on Judgment Day is someone who has a heart that is salim. This word salim comes from the same word salam. So what does it mean? Salim actually means something safe, something undamaged. Literally, it actually means something undamaged. And in modern Arabic, even today, the word salim is used to describe a healthy person. How are you doing? I'm doing okay, salim. I'm doing all right. In other words, I haven't been afflicted by disease. I'm not injured. I'm not hurt in any way. I am doing fine. And Allah says, you have to bring me a heart that is at peace, but a heart that is undamaged. And the idea of salim in and of itself suggests that there are dangers that can afflict or damage this heart. They can damage this heart. So let's first talk about some of those dangers. We have to be at peace with our Creator. But even before then, what is a litmus test of the fact that we are at peace with Allah? If you can go pray, And prayer is supposed to bring you peace with Allah. That's what it's supposed to do. Salah is supposed to bring you peace with Allah. And you finish your prayer, and you come back, and it's easy for you to get into a fight with your wife. It's easy for you to yell at your children. It's easy for you to get angry when you're driving back from the masjid at the next driver. You're not at peace in your heart, man. You have to think about what's going on here, because a heart that is at peace with Allah automatically becomes at peace with all of creation. So there must be something missing in your relationship with Allah and mine, that we are not easily at peace with others. Sometimes when you travel to the Muslim countries, you can tell. Even if you don't get out of the airport, you can tell. I tell you an experience I had. Just these small practical things, because we have to think about them at the individual level. I'm standing in line, we're waiting for the passport, stamp. There's a couple of guys behind me. My whole family is there, and of course in line, your family is a unit, they're in line, and there's a group of people behind you, they're in line. So one of those guys who's standing behind me, he stands next to me. And I thought that was strange. Wow, what? It's a line. Why are you standing next to me? Well, I didn't say anything. And you know how those lines, they turn like this? So when the turn came, he overtook me. And I still didn't say anything. I could have said, hey buddy, that's a line. No. I just let him go. It's okay. So he gets ahead of me. Once he gets ahead of me, what does he do? He points, hey, Aja. You know what? So one guy comes in, he does the same maneuvering, and I let him do it. Then I said, you know what? Let me see how this works. Because it was a long line, so I had time to experiment with these guys. So what I did was I took my children and I lined them up so the entire lane was blocked. So as we are turning, this guy is trying this way, and he's literally right on top of me, and he's trying to overtake, and I'm not letting him go. But I know he's there, but I'm pretending I don't see him. So after a couple of lanes of games, I move all my children. I said, my brother, Eid Mubarak, please go. It's okay. Let's go ahead. And you know what? This person, I could get into these people are so rude. They don't even respect the line. But then I realized something. The Muslims, unfortunately, overwhelmingly have become part of a culture where you are only thinking about yourselves. And if you are standing in a line, something as simple as standing in a line, if you are not right next to the guy in front of you, if you give 1 inch, you know someone will come in between. So you stand right there, you hold your ground. And if you see a little bit of a half an inch, you take it. And we do this not just in a line. We do this even when, our beloved audience, I love you people. I wish I got to say salam to every one of you, because I want to earn every one of your du'as, and I want to make du'a for every one of you, but it's not possible. But when the people come in, they want to shake hands with the shaykh. And I'm no shaykh. People, mashallah, these conferences, they invited all the ulama, and they invited me after. I don't see the connection. But anyway, alhamdulillah, I'm glad to be here. But people want to shake the hand. And they're elbowing each other in the face, and they're moving and climbing on you. Hey, Assalamu alaikum. And I ask myself, we don't even know how to peacefully coexist with each other. How are we going to give peaceful coexistence in the world? We have to really question ourselves. You think of yourself, you think of someone else first. When you see an elder outside standing in line, you say, "Can you get a ride in front? Please take my space." How do we behave in restaurants? How do we behave outside in public? This is the example that we set. How do we drive even? I've noticed more and more in many Muslim countries, when you're driving, somebody's about to cross the street. What does the driver do? Speed up. They speed up. And the guy who's walking, he doesn't care either. It's insane. What are you doing? It's really an act of, it raises your iman driving in the Muslim world. It raises your iman. And then we even told some of the shuyukh, Sheikh, close your eyes, we're about to cross the street. SubhanAllah. We have to become examples of decency, of courtesy, of respect towards other human beings. I want to, as I leave you, I want to share some things with you from this word salima. You get to analyze the language of it. The word salima, one of the things salima min al-uyub, from salat, salima min al-uyub, to be safe from damage, like I mentioned before. What kind of damage do we have? If you have hatred towards a brother, if you have anger towards someone, if you're jealous of someone, if you're feeling greed all the time, if you're always comparing yourself to other people, that's a ayib. And you gotta work on that because you're not gonna find peace. Allah Azza wa Jal, when you connect with Him, you know what happens? You get to realize Allah has given you whatever your share in life, and Allah has given people their share in life, and you will be at peace with what Allah gave you and you'll be grateful for it. When we learn to become grateful to Allah, a lot of our greed and a lot of our anger starts going away. And even when it comes to da'wah, when it comes to giving the message of Islam, you cannot be angry at people and invite them to Islam. You cannot insult people and invite them to Islam. You cannot make them feel stupid and inferior and invite them to Islam. You have to respect people and invite them into your home and treat them like an equal and treat them like they're dignified people. And that in and of itself is the ultimate invitation to Islam. I was speaking with a church group in Texas. It was a group of leaders from churches, and they had invited me to speak with them about certain issues and they wanted to discuss. And usually you think when Muslims and Christians are going to get together, they're going to have a debate about how many is God, right? 3 versus 1. But that's not why I was there. I went there to say one thing, and I'm saying it to you. I told them, look, the Muslims in the United States are a minority, but they are significant in population, and they are not going anywhere. The number of mosques, the number of masajid, the number of Islamic institutions are only increasing. And that's accept the reality that we are not going anywhere. We are a reality. Learn to deal with us and stop thinking